Bosnia and Herzegovina is one of those countries that is easy to locate on a map, but much harder to understand through a single headline. It sits in Southeast Europe, in the Western Balkans, bordered by Croatia, Serbia, and Montenegro, with only a narrow stretch of Adriatic coastline in the south. Yet inside this compact territory is an unusually dense story: mountains and river valleys, medieval kingdoms, Ottoman mosques, Austro-Hungarian boulevards, Yugoslav industry, and the scars of a devastating 1990s war. Bosnia and Herzegovina is not just a country between larger neighbors. It is a meeting point of cultures, religions, empires, and political systems. To understand it, we need to look at how geography shaped settlement, how outside powers transformed identity, and why its modern state is structured in such a complicated way. Geography is the first key to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Much of the country is mountainous, especially in the central and eastern regions, where the Dinaric Alps dominate the landscape. These mountains create dramatic scenery, but historically they also made movement, administration, and military control difficult. Communities often developed in valleys, around rivers, and along trade routes rather than across wide open plains. The climate also changes by region. Bosnia, in the north and center, has hot summers and cold, snowy winters, while Herzegovina in the south has a warmer Mediterranean influence. That contrast explains why the country can feel both alpine and Adriatic at once. Sarajevo, the capital and largest city, sits in a mountain valley, a location that gave it strategic importance but also made it vulnerable during conflict. Human settlement in this area goes back far before modern borders. Archaeological evidence points to people living here since at least the Upper Paleolithic, while later Neolithic cultures such as Butmir, Kokanj, and Vustal left traces of organized communities, pottery, tools, and early social life. Over time, Indo-European groups arrived, including Illyrian and Celtic peoples. These early societies were not Bosnia in the modern national sense, but they established a pattern that would repeat for centuries. The region was inhabited by diverse groups, connected to wider European currents, yet protected and fragmented by terrain. By the Roman period, much of the area was incorporated into the province of Dalmatia. Rome brought roads, military organization, trade, and administration, tying the region more firmly into the Mediterranean world. After the fall of Roman authority in the west, the region changed again. Between the 6th and 9th centuries, South Slavic peoples arrived and gradually became the ancestors of the modern Slavic populations of Bosnia and Herzegovina. By the 12th century, the Banate of Bosnia emerged as the first clearly independent Bosnian polity. This is important because Bosnia was not merely a borderland controlled by others, it developed its own political identity. Over time, the Banate expanded and evolved into the Kingdom of Bosnia. By the 14th century, it became one of the most powerful states in the Western Balkans. Medieval Bosnia's rise shows that the country's history is not only one of occupation and outside control, but also of local state-building and regional influence. The next major turning point came in 1463, when the Ottoman Empire annexed Bosnia. Ottoman rule lasted for centuries and deeply reshaped the region. One of the most significant changes was the spread of Islam, which became a defining part of Bosnia's religious and cultural landscape. But Ottoman Bosnia was not simply converted overnight, nor was it religiously uniform. Muslims, Orthodox Christians, Catholics, Jews, and others lived under a complex imperial system that organized communities by religion and status. Cities such as Sarajevo grew as administrative, commercial, and cultural centers, with mosques, markets, bridges, and public buildings. Ottoman influence helped create the distinctive mixture Bosnia is known for: Slavic language and Balkan geography, combined with Islamic architecture and traditions within a European setting. In the late 19th century, Bosnia and Herzegovina entered another imperial era, this time under Austro-Hungarian administration. The shift from Ottoman to Austro-Hungarian rule brought new infrastructure, bureaucracy, railways, schools, and architectural styles. Sarajevo became a city where Ottoman bazaars and mosques stood near European-style avenues and public buildings. This period also placed Bosnia directly inside the tensions of European nationalism. Different communities imagined different futures, and neighboring powers had competing interests in the region. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo in 1914 became the spark that ignited World War I. That event shows Bosnia's position perfectly. Local grievances, imperial politics, and continental rivalries all converged in one city, turning a Balkan crisis into a global catastrophe. After World War I, Bosnia and Herzegovina became part of the Kingdom of Yugoslavia, a state intended to unite South Slavs but often troubled by internal divisions. After World War II, Socialist Yugoslavia reorganized the region and gave Bosnia and Herzegovina full republic status within the federation. This mattered because Bosnia was recognized as one of Yugoslavia's constituent republics, not just a province divided among its neighbors. Under Yugoslav socialism, the country developed industry, education, infrastructure, and urban life. Sarajevo became internationally visible, especially when it hosted the 1984 Winter Olympics. Yet Yugoslavia's system also contained unresolved questions of identity, nationalism, and political power. When the federation began breaking apart in the early 1990s, Bosnia's mixed population made independence especially dangerous and contested. In 1992, Bosnia and Herzegovina proclaimed independence following the breakup of Yugoslavia. What followed was the Bosnian War, one of the most destructive conflicts in Europe after World War II. The war lasted until late 1995 and involved competing territorial and political claims among Bosniaks, Serbs, and Croats, as well as intervention and pressure from the wider international community. Cities were besieged, civilians were targeted, and entire communities were displaced. Sarajevo, once celebrated for its multicultural urban life and Olympic image, became a symbol of endurance under siege. The war's human cost still shapes the country today, not only through memory and trauma, but through institutions, demographics, and politics. Modern Bosnia cannot be understood without understanding that peace ended the fighting, but did not erase the divisions. The Bosnian War ended with the Dayton Agreement in 1995. Dayton stopped the violence, but it also created one of the most complex political systems in the world. Bosnia and Herzegovina has a state-level presidency made up of 3 members, representing the 3 main constituent peoples, Bosniaks, Serbs, and Croats. It also has a bicameral legislature, but the central government has limited power. Much authority is decentralized into 2 highly autonomous entities, the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, largely associated with Bosniaks and Croats, and Republika Srpska, largely associated with Serbs. There is also the Brčko district, a self-governing unit under a special arrangement. This structure was designed to balance competing interests, but it often makes decision-making slow, fragmented, and politically tense. The population of Bosnia and Herzegovina is around 3.4 million. Its society is usually described through 3 main ethnic groups: Bosniaks, who make up about half the population, Serbs, around 1/3, and Croats, around 1/6. But the country also recognizes numerous national minorities, including Jews, Roma, Albanians, Montenegrins, Ukrainians, Turks, and others. Ethnicity in Bosnia is often closely linked to religion and historical memory. Bosniaks are generally associated with Islam, Serbs with Orthodox Christianity, and Croats with Catholicism. Still, everyday life is more complicated than categories suggest. Shared language, food, music, humor, and local identity often cross official divisions. The challenge is that Bosnia's institutions frequently reinforce group identity, even when many citizens want practical governance, jobs, stability, and a normal future. Economically, Bosnia and Herzegovina is considered a developing country and an upper-middle-income economy. Industry and agriculture remain important, while services and tourism have grown significantly. The country has strong natural assets, mountains, rivers, forests, historic towns, and cultural landmarks. Sarajevo attracts visitors for its layered history. Mostar is famous for its bridge and Ottoman-era setting, and the countryside offers rafting, hiking, skiing, and religious tourism. The state also provides social security, universal healthcare, and free primary and secondary education. But economic progress is limited by political fragmentation, emigration, bureaucracy, and the difficulty of attracting long-term investment. Many young people leave for better opportunities elsewhere in Europe. So Bosnia's economy is not simply poor or stagnant, it has potential, but that potential is constrained by institutional complexity and demographic pressure. Today, Bosnia and Herzegovina sits between a difficult past and an uncertain European future. It is a member of organizations such as the United Nations, the Council of Europe, the OSCE, CEFTA, and the Southeast European Cooperation Process. It has been a NATO membership candidate since 2010 and an EU candidate country since 2022. These paths matter because they represent security, investment, legal reform, and closer integration with the rest of Europe. But they also require political cooperation inside a state built on delicate compromise. Bosnia and Herzegovina is best understood not as a simple story of division, but as a country where geography, empire, identity, and modern diplomacy all overlap. Its future depends on whether that complexity can become a source of resilience rather than paralysis. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.